let's just get into it. Eva Longoria. Just.
I loved you growing up.
Yeah, I was okay.
I wanted you.
Makes sense. I mean, look who you married. But, okay, so basically...
I just called that. You're talking about me. I thought you were talking about her.
No, you. Yeah, I'm like, whatever. You're like,
I was like, she married a darker nigga than Tony Parker? And I was like, oh, me.
Goes in line with what you like. But...
They don't know that.
No, they don't know. They don't know that. Everybody, keep it secret. Shh. Everybody, shh. Do it with us. Shh. So basically, this was election post, the projections for Biden winning everything and all that crap. Mm-hmm. She goes on some news station,
MSNBC,
and she does the fucking stupidest thing I could think of right now. Is just after all this hard work of us. All these people being together and united against one person, Trump and all that shit.
Right.
She goes like something. I'm gonna paraphrase really badly, but she goes, black women did a lot, but the real that's the part that she goes. The real heroes are the Latin women because the Latin blah blah blah, and we did this and we know and Latin blah blah blah. And when you sent me that. I was just like, what a fucking idiot, man. We had this beautiful opportunity to stay united and be united despite our race and the whatever
differences.
The differences between like blacks and Latins and I've never understood it, the hate between us. So there was like a real nice chance for like the whole fucking America to be like, yeah, let's stay united. Look what happens when we're united. We both get what we want. And all this shit, but no, she has to go. The real heroes, like no, black women, yeah, sure, but the real heroes, Latin women, blah blah blah. Which the data does not fucking back your story up,
That's
lady.
the funniest part of this to me.
It's just like black women was like I saw something was like 93% of them.
Yeah.
Went out and voted and voted for Biden and shit like that. And with Latin women, it was a lot lower. Let me tell you, it was a fucking lot lower from the other thing that I saw. And let me just read something I wrote after you sent me that shit.
I was going to read it.
Go for it, yeah, go for it.
So her full statement was, that spirit and perseverance that Latinas use in their daily life, the struggle to pay their bills and the struggle to show up to their jobs, that's the same perseverance and spirit they use to show up to the polls. Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, but the data doesn't fucking back your story up, and that's what fucking really annoyed me.
Yeah, that's what makes it just... It made it even worse. Like, if her statement was just like a random statement and it was like, oh yeah, black and Latinos both came out and blah, 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 it wouldn't matter.
Yeah.
But when the evidence shows not only did they not show up as much as black women, they also, if you flip it for Trump, more Hispanic men and women voted for Trump than black men and women.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It was the way she worded it. It was the way it was the real heroes instead of like, oh, black women and Latin women. You could have been like, no, us too.
Right.
Like we were united, and that's why we all went out together and blah blah blah. It could have been such a beautiful moment, but you turned it into such an ugly thing, and that's what I fucking hate. Like I wrote this thing after I was like, in victory, we have to remember to keep it a we, not me. Like, don't start going, I was the actual hero of this campaign.
Right.
It's like we have to keep in mind that it was us working together that made this happen. Forget the credit. Forget the credit for a small battle and get some fucking perspective on the real battle ahead. Right. And that's going to require us staying as one. I don't get how people just, I need credit, hurry, this small victory happened, I need the credit now.
My thing is I don't get why does it matter, like, what race came out and did what? Two, for her, what did it do for you to just come out and say what you said? Because I don't think it was something that was, it wasn't necessary, obviously, but my thing is, like, it didn't spark anything. It made you look dumb. You then had to apologize, which I didn't really fuck with her apology either, because her apology was like, basically it was like, I know y'all mad, but y'all didn't understand what I was talking about. I was talking about how Latinas came out more than Latin men.
No,
And I'm like, you didn't say that at all.
You specifically said right before black women, and then the real heroes. I remember that part so specifically because it fucking irked me, man.
And I was like, this, and then of course, on social media, so many people were pissed off even more because they were just like, oh, so I'm sorry you black people heard me wrong, but I actually meant.
Oh yeah, the whole I'm sorry.
You're mad.
That you feel that way.
Yeah, and I was just like, this is.
Man.
But I love these moments because these moments always, like when we talk about how stuff it isn't that much changed how people think it is, and they you watch TV, the media, you see all these like these showing of unity and things like that, which are great. Not saying that those aren't awesome because they are, but people just think you see that one time and that's the world now. The world is just this perfect place and everything like that. It's clear that there is still a lot of work to do in the black and brown communities. And to me, that's the one we can continue to go on this whole white supremacy shit and everything like that. Cool. I feel like we're starting to tackle that a little bit. But to me, another bigger issue is the weird hatred in the black and brown communities and why there's such a internal struggle to, like you always say, be number two.
Yeah, it's like, what the fuck, man? There's no such thing as number two. There's not. And again, just fuck the credit, man. Just we had such an opportunity to just keep that unity front on the media going.
Yeah.
To eventually where that just becomes the real thing. And it just pisses me off that people like that, because despite whatever we say about you shouldn't follow celebrity, you shouldn't follow them to a T and all that stuff. The reality is people do, and people go fucking hard for celebrities and shit like that.
Right.
So her words matter. That fucking shit matters. The person that was on the fence about being united because of her words, it could have been like, no, I was right. Don't be united. It's let's go back to brown versus black. Let's do it. How it always is, because that's that's how my parents did it, or that's how the previous generation. It's just like they were wrong. Previous generations were wrong. That
is the big thing that no one wants to come to grips with. And the older I get, I have to come to grips with certain things that I was taught. That older generation was wrong a lot. And I feel like time has shown that they were wrong, but we keep harkening back to the things that we grew up on and all these things. And a big portion of it was just wrong. And this is one of those things that were completely wrong. There was a lot of black families that were raised to be like, hey, you know what I'm saying? We cool with Hispanic people, but if they don't fuck with us, we don't fuck with them. And that's just what it is. And there was a lot of Hispanic families that were born the same way, just in obviously reverse. And to me, that's something that's crazy, because when you're both in a ghetto or in a whatever, it's the color don't matter. Y'all both fucked up. Yeah. So either y'all gonna be fucked up separately, or y'all gonna be fucked up together and work to not be fucked up.
Yeah.
But either way, it won't change.
It's so funny too, because that old generation, the ones that still think like that, it was for a very finite time, and it was only because they started redlining our communities, which is okay, black people live over here, brown people live over here.
Right.
And because of that, we were never, we didn't realize that our lives and the experiences were so fucking similar.
Right.
Especially that, civil rights, all that shit, fucking, a lot of people don't know, that guy Cesar Chavez, not the boxer.
What?
The guy, he, people know his name, but people don't really know what he did. Mm-hmm. And it was basically, they weren't using the word slave anymore. They were using the term migrant worker. And when you looked at before what he did, migrant workers were basically slaves, because you would go of your own volition to work at this farm or whatever, but you would be getting paid pennies.
Yep.
You weren't allowed to leave. If you did, you would get legit arrested, and it would be legal. So it's basically just slavery light. And because of him, he did the whole, working for the rights for migrant workers and all that shit. And he basically made that shit illegal over here, at least.
Right.
And that was his significance, which it sucks that we're not taught that slavery was still around just maybe was his time like in the, was it 70s or 80s, something like that.
Yeah, I'd say 70s. I'd say 80s.
Yeah, I want to say 80s, something like that. But yeah, if slavery was still around during when your parents were born, you know, just not in the way that you seen it, like in history books and shit like that. So, just yeah, man, just this whole if you need credit about Latins did more and blah blah blah, that doesn't fucking back your story up. And also, who gives a fucking fuck? We fucking did it. We got that fucker out of office. Now we need to get our heads straight for the fucking real battle ahead, which is this equality shit, this systemic racism shit. We need to fix that shit. And the only way it's going to happen is for us to keep being together.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
It fucking baffles me, man, that this old person that should have wisdom, should have experience in life, doesn't understand that you don't need credit for stuff like this. So I don't get what her mind was thinking about. Oh man, they're gonna love me for saying this. Everyone's gonna love me for saying this.
I think because we've seen it with Gina Rodriguez. I think there's just something to where, because we talked about this before. No one likes to feel left out, and people feel like, you know, hey, my plight is hard too, and X, Y, Z, and it is. But I always look at certain things like, hey, like we said in the previous episode, if a minority has the ball, let them run with it, bro. Like, because they're only gonna help, like, all of us in turn. Like, it won't be bad because they're showing you that it can be done.
Yeah.
Like Barack Obama being like the first black president, but more importantly, the first minority president, is a big thing because it shows that it can be done. You shouldn't look at it like, oh, okay, that was black people, but oh, when they do the first Mexican or they do the first blah, 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 it's like, no, he opened the door for everyone. You got to give him that. Kamala Harris right now, first woman in, I guess, that position of power as the vice president. You got to commend her for that. Doesn't matter the color. She's a woman and she's a minority. You got to give her that. Right? The idea that, and I hope this doesn't happen, but by the time, Biden's 4 years are up, hopefully he gets there. but by the time they're up, I hope we don't get any like bullshit slander that Obama got and gets from people when it comes to Harris and being like, oh, what did she really do? What did she really do? What did blah 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 and blah blah blah? Because I can already see it. We said this a couple podcasts ago, but if you don't think AOC in the next 10, 15 years is going to be in that position eventually, you're crazy, all right? Because she's coming, all right?
With her whole fucking squad.
Like, she is coming. And at that point, I hope people don't forget who was first. Because without her, she's not there. You can do all you want to say. You can say, like, oh, no, she's better. And you might be right, yeah. Of course, time will tell, and time, people get better with time. That's how life works. But you still can't say fuck this person because this person now is here and better, and you don't give a shit about the past. Most people didn't, and that's how I feel with everything when it comes to these situations. Like, people just want to stick their foot out and be like, "No, we're better. Yeah. We're better than all of you." And it's like, okay, but so when does it turn from a race thing to women? When does it turn from a race thing to just men? Because the big thing when it comes to, like, all this racist shit, at least I'm talking about, like, California, from what I know, right? A lot of this shit starts in the prison system and everything like that, but once again, that's something that systemic racism white people created to be a certain type of way, to make you come out of, if you get in trouble, you come out now rehabilitated, but you come out fucked up in the head because inside of prison, there isn't any more, like, your freedom is contingent upon survival. So if you're Hispanic, you're going to hang out with the Hispanics. If you're black, you're going to hang out with the blacks and X, Y, Z and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. You can try to be neutral, right? And it might do you some good. But in situations when there's riots and fights and shit, all that neutral shit goes out the window because you're going to be rolling with who the fuck you know anyway, right? So A lot of that shit was based just specifically off of that. People went into prison, clicked up with their own groups, and during the 70s, 80s, 90s, there was a whole bunch of shit with, blacks had to click up against blacks because Mexicans outnumbered blacks, and Mexicans had to click up with Mexicans because all these black gangs are in here, and that's how you grow, like, the Mexican mafia grows and all this shit like that. And then white people were in there, and, the whole Aryan Brotherhood in that nation and shit. So, of course, in there to survive, everything's clicked up, but they come out and they spread the shit. And that's what's fucked up.
Yeah, they spread it because that's what they know now.
Yeah, right.
It's their world, and they're like, the world has to convert to how I see it.
Right, because, fucking Baby Joker got stabbed by a nigga when he was in the pen. Now you can't trust black people. It's like, that was a specific situation.
Yeah.
And it has nothing to do with right now. Right? Like, I get it. In your head, it's still the same, and now you can't, blah, blah, blah.
It really is. Like, if we could dive deep into history and find out every little fucking detail, I know it's impossible, but you could literally trace all this fucking hate between black and brown to this one dude stabbed this other dude in prison, and from there it grew to this whole hate, and now these random people die because this person that you didn't even heard of or knew existed got stabbed one time.
Right.